Hello, my name is Paul Priestley. Welcome to arttutorsonline.com. This is part 3 of my art tutorial on how to draw a still life accurately. Now we're going to be concentrating on the light and shade and getting the subtleties of light and shade. Let's make a start. For this drawing, I'm going to be using 2 pencils, a 2B, a 6B and a piece of graphite. You saw in part 2 of this series how I drew out this drawing really accurately. What I'm going to do now is to just sketch very, very lightly the areas which are going to be my very light tones. These are the areas that I'm not really going to put very much shading on. I want to leave them very light. Now, using the graphite, I'm going to start on the pot and I want to create an edge here. You see, I'm putting this on very, very dark so my candle stands out. You see here, the same sort of thing. By making very, very dark tones, you can make light tones stand out. So those edges there is where my candlestick's going to stand out. And there's a highlight on the side of the candlestick. So I'm blocking this in with my piece of graphite. Blocking it in as dark as I can possibly make it with this. You see, and then I will switch to using the side of the graphite just to block in the main areas. Now, I'm not putting all the subtle shades on yet. I'm just blocking this in, just blocking in the dark tones, and I will go over this in a moment with some darker tones and a little bit more subtlety by varying the pressure with the pencil, as you can see here. I'm beginning to just develop some of these darker tones. There we go. Okay, now you've got to do this quite subtly. You can see I've speeded this up a little bit because you don't want to spend too long watching me shading. But you can see how the different variations of pressure that I put on the pencil will create different tones. This is a 6B pencil, but I'm pressing on quite lightly with it, you see. So I'm getting a very subtle tone at the bottom as compared with above. Now, by pressing on that little bit harder, you can now see I get a stronger tone, and gradually, a little less pressure as I come round the bottom of this pot creates that subtle change in tone, you see, which I want to create. Now, I'm going to go over and over and over these elements here, as you can see, and you will have to do the same, gradually building up the tones. You can see here, look, very, very subtle. The top section here, I'm looking for the dark areas, looking for those very strong dark elements here, and then just, again, varying the pressure with the pencil. The more pressure you put on, the better, the darker it will become, obviously. So it's a subtle, you've got to be very, very careful, you see. I'm making sure I don't go over the little areas that I went round originally to suggest where my highlights were. You see now I'm beginning to gradually add more and more tone, build this up layer upon layer upon layer. You see, don't try and create the effect in one go because it never quite works. What I'm doing here is trying to get rid of that sharp outline. You see, I'm just going on, putting a little bit of shadow just around the edge there, just to soften the edge a little bit so it doesn't look like an outline, because outlines can destroy the three-dimensionality of a drawing. That's a good word, isn't it? Yes, it is. Still, we come on a little bit more shading. Look, now we're doing the very light tones, you see? Very, very light pressure, just going around very, very gently, leaving my little highlighted area there. You see? There we go. Now, you see, it could be looking good by now. Now, you just got to keep working on this. You keep comparing all the time, looking at the darks, suggesting the elements, and you gradually, if you screw your eyes up and look at the drawing, you can see the very subtle changes in tone that I'm beginning to build up. And it's all done in layer upon layer. You really must do it stage by stage. Now, we move on to the candlestick. You'll notice with the candlestick this is much lighter in tone, so I'm not pressing on as hard with my pencil. Just some very, very soft, subtle tones. I'm now using my 2B pencil, again avoiding the area that I've identified as my highlight. So I'm just blocking in this. I'm just doing very, as you can see here, very, very simple shading to start with, just to block the basics in and then build up the subtlety, just as we did with the previous drawing. You've really got to do this. You know, you've really got to take your time and go over things subtly. Keep looking, keep comparing. You must keep looking all the time. Now, I'm just adding a few little details here, little dark tones, and you can see again, I'm putting the very, very subtle lights on. You can see, not as dark as I've done on the pot, because the pot is my darkest element. So I'm comparing all the time, looking very, very clear, gradually building up the tones, gradual change in pressure. You must keep doing this all the time. You see, you've got to keep looking, comparing, adding little sections, you see. Gradually the three-dimensionality will come out. You'll notice the difference now between the highlights and the shaded areas. The highlights are the colour of the paper. Now, just blocking in the candle here, you notice here I'm going down roughly, but then I'm just stroking very gently up and down, very pressing on lighter and lighter, so I get that very subtle effect. The eggs are quite a difficult thing to draw. If you notice, I've got a very strong shadow underneath, but you're also getting reflections off the paper. So what I'm going to do here is just simply block in the egg, first of all, again, leaving my highlight. But as you notice here, it's just basically one tone. I've just blocked it in, as you can see. Now I'm adding a second tone. I'm just going over, you see, and I'm looking for the darker tones. Now there is a reflection off the paper here, so I'm going to leave a little bit of the underneath dark. But before I come to do that, I'm just going to block in the second egg here. Now you notice I created a very dark shadow next to the first egg. That will help to create that contrast and make the first egg stand out from the second. You notice now I'm just going over and over, adding more and more tone, getting those gradual changes of tone. It's got to be subtle. Notice the little highlight I'm leaving at the bottom there, the reflection on the bottom of the egg, which is coming from the paper. Now working on the second one, doing the same sort of thing, building up that reflection. You see? So you've got that subtle change of tone underneath. You see that slight highlight as you darken the areas on top. There we go. Now, once you've done this, then we've got to start just suggesting the reflections underneath. You see, all I'm doing is just a subtle curve, very dark first, and then gradual, very change of light tone here. You see, that's all I'm doing. You're just suggesting the reflection on the shiny surface, you see. Just a slight reflection there, just that subtlety. That's the subtlety that make your drawings work, you see. It's that little subtlety, looking for the slight change of tone, putting this on very, very light. Right, we're coming towards the end of this now. You could keep working on this and keep developing it as much as you wish, but you'll notice here, I'm just suggesting going over some of these edges now and blending them in, but we're coming to the end of the drawing. Now, I hope I'm just rubbing out that little section there because it's a bit too strong. Just put it on a little bit lighter. Okay. So we're almost finished. So if you keep working on your drawing like this, you could end up producing a really, really accurate drawing. So I hope you've understood how we drew this in the beginning and how we've worked it from there. And hopefully you will have produced a beautiful drawing. Remember, you can use this idea to draw landscape and people accurately. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, perhaps you can subscribe to my channel. I would much appreciate that. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.